Surrounded by. I am surrounded by.
I'm often surrounded by.
The entire system is surrounded by
Freaking idiots.
Hey guys, we're here. Do the introduction.
You know I didn't have time to write one yet. I know I'm fucking it up.
Hey,
let's keep this
we are here
totally
today.
Organic. You know what I'm saying?
Organic.
100%.
Hey,
100%.
Larry banged on us on Instagram out of
That's why I'm
nowhere.
here.
Man.
And I'm like, we posted something, and it was just like, it was laughing at Donald Trump possibly walking out to Mini-Men. I wasn't like,
me
I'm
off.
gonna vote for Trump.
Boy,
I wasn't like,
did it.
Trump for everything. If you actually heard the conversation, that's not what
That nigga saw Trump. He saw 50 Cent. He said,
I
I'm
said,
going in.
That nigga said, I got you niggas.
Right.
And then he just went in, and then I'm reading it, and I was like, this person's being sarcastic. And then I was like,
He said,
it was
I
how it
love the
happened.
way
It was-
this
it was how it
podcast
happened. Yeah,
blatantly neglects the obvious disparity and context
Context.
when drawing conclusions or make comparisons. I mean, to relate an old, historically bigoted white man born entitled into money through nepotism to anything pertaining to black culture is genius. Thank you for that. I figured. The comparison to a minority born into poverty having to turn to the streets to fend for his life because of the lack of government-funded resources at homes makes so much sense because, well, it's obvious. Trump had the same struggles coming up. Please keep these original takes coming. Not sure I'm able to find content like this anywhere else on the internet. Job well done, guys.
ouch. So
I
now,
was like-
so now scroll down a little bit. So I'm like,
Through
fuck.
and through.
I was like, so now I'm in my phone like, oh yeah, that's what you got. And I was like,
Stay on mic. Stay on mic.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's what you. Yeah, oh, you got the context from that, but you only saw a 1 minute clip. So now, like, I was going in, and I was like,
Definitely got it from a
and then
1
I was like, why am I even doing this? I was like, you smart as hell, Larry.
listen.
And then I'm reading it, and
I
I'm like,
thought you was being sarcastic with the smart as hell.
of course I am.
So then I'm like, okay, I gotta show these dudes how smart I am.
Gee, thanks.
Obviously.
But I mean, I'm nobody compared to such amazing stewards of truth, education, and perspective for our youth like the two of y'all. It's really inspiring. I was like,
So then scroll down.
Truly inspired.
I'm like, oh, really? Really, Larry? And
see,
so I'm reading, and I'm like, Larry. And then all I see is Flight saying, Larry. And then I was like, this better not be Larry. So then,
Be Larry.
I'm like, this nigga been in my house. I was like,
he should know where I stand on things.
and you'll find me on your local neighborhood digital corner store slanging reviews.
going crazy. So wait, I need to know, Larry. What about our conversation got you to that point?
Man, listen, dude. I just, anytime I hear Trump, literally,
So
and
you're
I
one of
see
those
my
people.
people, and it, you know what I mean, and it's people, you know what I'm saying, my community, and it's honestly, this is what irks me. It's the honestly, it's everything I spelled out, but it's just, I feel like we're living in a time that doesn't necessarily reflect the true emotional state that everybody is in because of the internet, because of social media, the rate at which information is being exchanged. We can fall victim to, it's like we satisfy like these
Dopamine
short term,
urges.
what I'm saying? It's just
That's what
clickbait, you know what I mean?
Trump is, a dopamine
That's
urge.
what he
yeah,
is.
no, for sure.
And
100%.
I'm so tired of it personally.
I mean-
but it's also like I'm grateful because again, look, it's like I just want to talk to people who I feel
Same,
like
yeah.
But that's
who I
what,
feel like okay, let's go back to I don't want to say common sense, but like logic. Let's try to use like logic as we discern between information,
Right.
and then context, because I didn't peep nothing else.
You didn't
that was
see the
on
actual
page. I
stuff.
really didn't.
And so,
Even though in the past, who was it that tried to get me on the show in the past?
Isaiah.
Isaiah tried to get me on the show in the past, so I knew about the podcast, and I've been following Maestro, so I knew what was going on. But I'm also like, this is crunch time right now. You know what I'm saying? As we approach these last few months going into the election cycle, and I thought about so many different ways and angles I wanted to position myself ahead of this conversation to even see like how deep into politics I wanted to go, because I really don't talk about politics publicly. I've never, this is like my first time having this kind of a conversation, given my background as an athlete and the whole thing. Like I've almost been taught to like,
you don't say anything.
Don't say nothing.
Listen,
don't say, you know what I mean?
That's what I've always been told. That's
I'm
why
like,
I went
nah,
off the
bro,
deep end.
because
The safest thing to do.
It's just, yeah, man, we gotta talk. We gotta say things that we see, and we gotta be able to hold each other accountable. Because ultimately, again, as an athlete, I'm used to being on teams. I'm used to being a part of conversation and personalities and all clusters of different, you know what I'm saying? And having to now, as a point guard, manage all these different personalities and bring people to the same point, together. So I'm, that's what I do. And so that was the, why I wanted to come on to the show. And I, I'm saying, I saw that in y'all and how, I think, not that I think anything, I know, like another post that I checked y'all on was the boxer, right? The female boxer. At one point it was like,
oh no, that was a news article. That's all me.
The news article, right? But I mentioned something in the comments. I'm like, I don't know if you want to pull it up, but another fact that you might have missed. You know what I'm saying? But then to see the next day, fact checked. Okay, and that's what integrity. Right?
I'm big on that.
If we're gonna have conversations, let's have integrity.
No, 100%. And if there's something like that, that's one thing I'm always about. Like if information changes and then I get that information, I'm gonna change it. It's the same as like, I mean, that's why CNN and fucking even Fox News, they have updates.
Right.
You know what I mean? Of like, oh well, at 5 o'clock it was this. Now it's 5:25 and this was popping. So like I definitely try to do that. Speaking of that one is still feels like a very slippery slope, though. The
gender conversation as it pertains
because
to the
now
Olympics.
it's two XY chromosome boxers who have somehow made it. It's just it's a really weird space because we know obviously they're not transgender, it's not by choice, but then also, no one's there when they're born.
So so one conversation that I knew I wanted to bring to the table with you fellas today is the discussion between objectivity and subjectivity.
Okay.
Right? Like, how do we discern between something that may be objective and something that may be subjective, right?
Right.
Whose decision is that to say this is an objective woman in this case, or this is a subjective,
Right.
So again, it's like,
who's the authority?
Oh yeah, who's the authority? Like, ultimately, it's so confusing. Like, because again,
this one's very
at the end of the day, it's not our decision to make to say somebody else is something that we believe that they are. If they're straight up sitting here in front of you and telling you this is actually what I am,
right?
And so it's like on a consciousness level, it's like respecting that authority of consciousness. Like, we're all conscious beings here. We all discern for ourselves, especially as it pertains to our own lives, who we believe to be, who we believe we are to be.
That's fair. The only argument I put at something like that is like, if I believe myself to be, 185 pounds and I weigh $140.
And you're not.
That's what I'm saying. It's a weight. You're a weight class thing.
Physics. So now we go into the physics conversation and science, and that's ultimately where I live.
Okay.
That's where I like to live, because when you talk about, or at least when you look at anything from a scientific perspective, you have to now bring in with that. Again, there's a methodology here. There's the scientific method, right? Before you go communicating results, there's literally a whole series of steps that you got to check off, right? The first is ask a question. The second is form a hypothesis, right? Then you got to experiment. You got to measure the results. Okay, is it what my hypothesis was? If it is, then okay, keep going. If it isn't, then form a new hypothesis. But at the very end of that, there's communicate results. That's where I feel like today people are skipping all these steps in between.
Just communicating
they're literally
results.
going from ask a question, this is what I think is going on, and then they just go talk about it.
Yeah, and they don't
actually
research
experiment,
it.
none of it
100%.
in between, and that's what irks me.
Yeah,
as a scientist.
Yeah.
But I feel like a big thing that we try to do on this show is we also try to give our opinion. And our opinion, you know, it can change and whatnot, but doesn't the opinion start like that's basically your hypothesis. That's what you believe. I'm good for right now.
Oh no, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, that's subjectivity, right? Your opinion is subjective to you.
Yeah.
Is your, again, so it's like people nowadays, right? It's all subjective.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we everybody's giving their opinions.
You're right.
And that's
because there's a platform for everybody to do it everywhere.
There's the platform for it,
Yeah.
and there's the info. But did you? Okay, now again, look at how you looking at me.
No. I think
Micah just makes these faces.
I just make these faces. I think you're thinking. I think you're.
I
That's just
really
my
wanna
face.
make
No,
you
no,
think,
this-
because that's why I'm here, right?
No, 100%.
Did y'all peep the notes that I left?
Oh yeah,
in the-
I watched. I'll tell you.
Okay.
I was laughing. Telling him I was like, Stone. Roger Stone documentary. I did watch that.
You watched it? Was your first time watching it?
That was my first time seeing that one.
Okay.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I knew who he was, but I didn't realize how
How
instrumental he
impactful
was.
and
he really
influential
was.
he actually
Yes.
is
No,
on
like-
the back end. He's not one of these figures in the mainstream, but
Right.
we have to do our research. That's what I'm saying. We got to do our back. We got to dig and really uncover who.
I just remember
because
when
people
Roger
say
Stone
they.
was popping up on the news, and I just saw this gaudy ass movie villain.
Is what he
With the
got.
white hair.
and he lives
Talking
in that,
on
right?
Pierce
And he loves it.
But
And
see,
I was
what
like,
I'm
who
saying
is this guy?
how, like one thing that again that kind of irks me when I hear people talk that don't do the research or don't have the
Right.
depth of the substance
Right.
is they blame everything on they.
Oh, they is the best.
They.
Well, what they're gonna do is they're gonna take your baby.
They're gonna
do this.
They're gonna come get you, and they're gonna. And I'm just like, okay,
No,
well,
that nigga got a name.
let's put a
put a
spotlight on
name
they,
on the-
right?
yeah.
Like, who's they? And then that becomes, I think, the first level of like, kind of like, again, people stand at attention when they realize and I don't really know who they is, right? And it's like, well, shit, like you can see it. You can really see it. Like next time somebody say they, be like,
Yeah.
who is they? And if they don't have an immediate pivot or answer or something for it, it just lets you know again how shallow
Yeah, their
of a thinker
understanding.
their understanding they are. But it's like we can't fall into these generalizations of
Very
they.
nuanced subjects.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
No,
It's way too nuanced, and there's way too much going on that we got the internet.
Yeah.
We actually have free education at our fingertips.
But people don't choose to use it.
We have free
Yeah.
education
People
at
definitely don't
our
choose to use
fingertips. While it's still free, I don't even believe it's going to be free for forever.
Nah.
While it's still free, we have the ability to research anything we want to actually learn, not necessarily be told or to help us feel more comfortable about
Yeah.
whatever it is that we're feeling, but actual practical, applicable information.
And at this point, we get multiple sources. Because I think in the future, especially with AI, it will be more so like, no, you get your information from this. Opposed to now where it's like, no, you can click a couple links. There is a problem with disinformation with that.
That's why
obviously.
I was going to say, how do you discern which information is
and that's
actually
why I
the
started it
correct
with
information?
discernment.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I wanted to talk about discernment, objectivity, subjectivity, and then again, Roger Stone is a key figure just from a political, nuanced standpoint. But one of the links that I really wanted you guys to check out was it's a KGB defector.
Oh, I already knew about Yuri Bezmenov.
Yeah.
Yes, and that video is crazy.
Okay,
When he's
and-
explaining just how you would break down a society.
I mean, it's as a defector of the KGB, he's saying this is what Russia is doing.
And well, it's
Not
it's
necessarily
working.
how you would do it. This is how they are doing it effectively right now.
We're hitting the middle.
Literally
yeah.
in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that he talks about is and what he's talking about is the other documentary that I brought up, the Active Measures.
Yeah.
But it goes into ideological subversion. And what Yuri was talking about was how the U.S. is under attack, a decades, generations long attack to literally dumb down our population to the point to where we cannot discern, and he says the word, I believe he says the word discern, between meaningful information to protect ourselves, our neighbors, and our interests, because we won't be able to know what information is true or not.
Right.
And that's literally what's happening.
Yeah. That's why the Facebook lawsuits were happening, right? That's part of why everything, because they were sending money to Facebook to put out misinformation. And
yeah,
whatnot.
I mean that
I mean, you have like government officials in Facebook too. So like even like the Hunter Biden laptop stuff that gets pulled. Like, you know.
I wanna like again, like how do you you know, shoot, I don't know, like we've all been kids, right? We've all been in the sandbox. We've all had to, you know, this is when, again, character, right? You talk about your character. Well, who are you gonna be, right? Like I was taught certain things as a kid because my dad was a coach in the NBA. He's 40 some years in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Coached Kobe, Michael, LeBron, all the greats. So
that's getting through to a lot of people.
Leadership was always was it for me as a kid. It was like that was the term, and everything that it was that I felt like my dad just felt like all the other little words or terms or whatever that I feel like, okay, I could just teach you leadership and everything will embody that right
Fall
here
under that, yeah.
in leadership, right? And so we need to be able to understand that to lead, you got to follow. You got to be able to take information. You got to be able to take criticism. You got to be able to take accountability. And all of that basically should allow you to say, I don't know nothing. Like, I don't know anything. Coaches are the best learners, right? Like in that sense. So you really got to come into every situation and say, to lead, I got to follow. To follow, I got to know what's going on. To know what's going on, I got to really say, I don't know nothing, right?
And then learn from the bottom.
Learn from the bottom up. So when you really look at, again, from a historical context, and you get fed information, right? So it's like, okay, there's a link, there's a couple links. Like here's here's one documentary, here's another link with this, and there's some others that now how do you feel like, again, these dots might connect in context to what you see outside every single day? And when you hear and you like, again, like, yeah, it's funny. We can make jokes of it, and we could say like, yeah, like, damn, people are really ignorant, people are really like, you know, going through the ringer right now, or isn't this crazy? Like, now we can actually talk about this, and we could, you know, first the First Amendment, right, is something that, you know, Republicans and Trump and all we're under attack, right? Like, don't take away my voice, my Twitter account, even though I incited an insurrection against you know, the peaceful transfer of power. You know, it's just like we got to go back to understanding that everything isn't free. There's no such thing as free speech or free this or free. It's gonna cost something. Like, money isn't everything. Like the financial side and the money that people and Americans, and I get why it's this capital mecca of the world, but when you make every single decision or response to anything, everything has to come back to money. It just, I think personally, is reflective of your character and the lack of depth that you ultimately, you know what I mean? Because there's so much more to the world than just money. Money's not going to take care of everything.
No, facts.
You know what I mean?
But then you got to think it's rooted in that, though. The whole system's rooted in that.
It is.
That's the issue. It's like, you know, came over, took the land for money. You know what I mean? We had slaves for money.
For the resources to create, you know, a footprint in the world, right? To then leverage your position and then go out there and then show, right? And demonstrate what kind of a nation you ultimately want to be, right? And when people talk about like this country and democracy, right? And they go, oh, well, we're funding wars and we're doing this, and, you know, like, this country isn't what people think it, right? Like it's a bad country, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, you still can't beat it, really.
Well, I mean, it's just I feel different, right? I feel like, okay, yeah, there's you could look at it that way, and that's there's truth in that. There is truth in the fact that a lot of innocent blood was spilled to create this where we are here, right? It's an experiment at the end of the day.
We're in Mexico.
Yeah. On native land. But at the same time, while you say that, while you can say that and mean that and it be a fact, you can also say that literally this country was built by slaves, black people, and because of democracy, it allowed for change to occur.
Sure.
And where else in the world do you see that drastic of a change in that little of a time to where people who have come, we were forced here, we were brought here against our will, can go from that position to then becoming the holding the president.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you realize this, because a lot of times
democracy,
people
that is
don't look at both of
literally
those.
democracy.
Yeah.
And so for people to it always to be all bad and but we like, as a black person, and I got native in me too, like I think we all do. I should I should be the poster child, right? Like of F Uncle Sam, right? Like these people are monsters and this, that, and the third. And, in some way, it's the truth. But in another way.
Question. What are your thoughts on reparations?
I think reparations aren't going to be handed to us. I think we got to create systemic opportunities in our communities amongst ourselves. Ultimately.
I mean, we found 1.4 million for Kamala Harris. We can't find 1.4 million for ourselves. I'm saying.
I think again, the idea of a handout, and again, like when I hear people in our community talk about like, oh yeah, like Trump, he gave us the stimulus check, and I'm like, bruh, like
no one gave you any.
There ain't gonna be no reparations in the sense of like you just gonna wake up with $1 million in your bank account one day because the government decided we owe you that for what we did to you and your family.
What happened when the Indians got theirs, and what happened when the Japanese people in the internment camps, and what happened when the Jewish people got
they
theirs?
Like them better.
When they were wrong. Okay, as long as we say that, I'm fine, because I hate when people are like, it's never gonna come.
I hate when people say it can't work.
You want to know why it's not gonna happen? Like because I just said it. We fought for everything we got in this country. Yeah, we fought for it. Yeah, we took democratic principles and we applied them, and in real time, over time, day after day. It was relentless. It was a relentless approach to life. It was a lifestyle. Like, it can't go, and then you talk about burning books and banning books, and like, why would you ever want people to not learn about, I used to work, like, I work with people, it's like, I don't, like, white people, I don't want my children to grow up and be taught that they're less than certain people because their ancestors like treated. I'm like, that is the wrong way to look at this. Like, because some black people are just as racist as the most racist white people.
What is it? Prejudice?
Yeah,
prejudice. We can't be racist.
Whatever. But I'm saying like the feeling of like. It's in our community,
100%.
Right?
Well, what are your thoughts on? I was just gonna ask about the Kyrie situation. What do you think about Kyrie? Go ahead, please.
Right before that, I was gonna say, I think it's a double-edged sword, because exactly what you're saying. Like, I'm really fucking with everything you're saying, because you're hitting that middle ground that most people just tend to gloss over. It's either like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Nobody wants to help us. This is blah blah blah, or it's, I don't see the issues. You know, nobody really walks that fine line of like, oh no, there are some terrible things that have happened, but also, hey, you know, am I going to sit here and cry about not getting my reparations? I know how, this is what I always say. I know how this game goes, right? If my father has told me and his father had told him and his father had told him that this is how the game goes, well, now in this situation, I understand how this game goes. So why don't I do things that behoove me to work around this game? Then sit here and complain that, hey, the people who enslaved me won't give me this shit.
I'm glad you said it. You said game, and that's what you gotta play. You gotta play the game.
It's a game.
You gotta play the game, and you can't bow out because you don't like the rules or you feel like it's unfair. You don't like what the ref called in the first quarter. I'm a dog. I hoop. Like I grew up hooping against all the superstars in the league, killing it now. These were like, I don't know what it was. I think it was Kobe. Honestly, I think it was growing up in Los Angeles,
right?
Having, having this God figure, right? Yeah. Like, and it wasn't just because of what he did on the court; it was what he stood for.
Right.
Everything he stood for was reflected in his game.
I have a Kobe quote over my bed, and I didn't hoop like that. But that's what I'm getting at. It's just
in the mentality, the Mamba mentality, the brand. That's the brand. His game wasn't even his superpower.
It wasn't. No, it was his mind.
And so it's just like, we have the power. It's up here to make a decision and decide this is what we're gonna do. And if you apply the Mamba mentality and you are relentless and you have some dog in you, bro, you're gonna bring out the best in other people, and that's what leaders do.
Yeah.
Ultimately, and that's what we're lacking, and that's why I feel like, again, we just need to talk, because, you know, I clearly I feel like I'm a leader. Yeah. I feel like I exhibit leadership qualities just because I'm able to at least come to the table, right? Like, I fired off on y'all, but at the end of the day, I was still gonna be like, I want to hear y'all. I want to be able to talk and have this conversation, because, to your point, I'm glad that you said it. Like, I don't see it out in anywhere. Any content is every content. All the content is extreme content. It's doom and gloom. Everything is all bad.
They won't click otherwise.
Or it's just, like, we should just completely, you know what I mean? Go off the rails and just go. I'm like, dog, we need to go back to having, like, just some logic and some common sense, but
or even just what happened to just basic left and right. Now it's you're either far left or you're far right. Like, there's no like, hey, well,
let me explain this. I went to the University of North Carolina before I transferred and went to UCLA. That's where I graduated. Okay. But I was at UNC 2008-9. My freshman year, Obama.
Oh wow.
That's when he, right? Yeah. Did the whole thing, right? I'll never forget. But even at that point, though I was, eligible to, take part in that election, I didn't. And I even remember people in my family, right? Yo, you need to get involved. You need to, do what you can, because this is Obama.
Yeah.
And he's
historic,
black.
Yeah.
And you need to vote for him because he's black. And I was like, you racists. You guys can't do that.
Now look at you, goddammit.
You can't
and
just
now
say,
look
like,
at
I'm going to
you.
just vote for somebody because they black. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, I'm not, again, symbolism, optics, right? It's important. Truly, it is, right?
I said this to somebody the other day.
But if we're going to be an example of democracy and leadership, and it is going to be us and our community, we can't be like them. We can't be like the people from the past. And we got to be better than that, right? Ultimately,
things should get better.
We should get better. So we should look at things and say, for sure. Ultimately, I'm now raising a biracial, black baby girl. I have no shame in my game to say I want her to look at the president and it be reflective of her.
Yeah.
So she can feel like, I can be the most powerful woman in the world, person in the world someday, and then not, just be a white person in that role, right? Like, I have no problem admitting that, but I also have no problem admitting I'm not just gonna vote
because you're black.
Like, this is a sacred responsibility, and if we just continue to waste it and not really cherish what this truly is. It's a choice.
Well,
it's
we
a
don't.
choice.
The other problem is a lot of people in our community, and I know I got hit with it later. Like I started really paying attention, but like, yeah, we don't care to know. Like that's why I even was when you were talking about the being on the phone, you're like, you have all this information here, and I'm like, yeah, and all I do is look up, little baby videos. Like I have all this information, and I just choose to just not look in certain sectors.
Yeah,
and I'm just saying it's frustrating because that's even why when I started this podcast and we started doing our thing, that was my thought process was like
S.B.I.
broaching conversations that just like, hey, I know there's a sector of us who care about this.
Right.
We're sitting here. So how do I draw in those people to watch? Or maybe they'll start talking to their friends who are like us.
You did a good job. Look, you got
for
sure.
You got to ruffle some feathers.
I'm just watching you.
That's what Roger Stone said.
I'm like, wow. You guys actually think kind of similar.
It's kind of crazy.
You're firing off on yourself.
Well, no, but I do that. Though. I do that.
He said, I will do it. Yes.
Look, I talk to myself, y'all. Like I do. I really break me down. Because look, ultimately, I talk to everybody the same way I talk to myself, the same way I talk to my mother and my father and my brothers and my cousins and everybody gets the same energy ultimately, right? Because I come from a place of love and light and respect, and it's not ignorance over here. And ultimately, if I am being ignorant or if it's something I don't know, I expect to be taught that, and I want to be taught, right? I want to be educated ultimately.
And if I'm ignorant to it, I will accept what you're saying until I have time to do my own research, and then if I come back and I disagree with something, then we can have this conversation.
And that's how you build critical thinking and ultimately strengthen the bond and relationships between neighbors in a society, because then there's trust now that, oh my goodness, somebody's actually like again, like, you know how many insecurities we walk around with subconsciously, like that we, it's all reflective in conversations and things that you know,
how we sit, how we stand,
and the things left unsaid, right? Like everything doesn't need to be said, but like the important things that do need to be said today we're being told not to say them or not to talk about 100%. Them. And it's like, this is actually the only way to combat misinformation and propaganda, actually.
Yeah, but that's why we can't have y'all niggas speaking. No.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, the divisiveness even of like, even when you look at like, for example, in this election, I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, I think either candidate's that good. But what I will say is to see how divisive, even based on people who have literally no information on either candidate of what they've done good or bad in the past. But it's like, no.
Now, what I will say, and kind of going back to the UNC situation, like I didn't vote. I wasn't into politics at all. Yeah. Like I wasn't. I just wasn't. Like I said, like I just told people like I don't want to. I'm not voting for somebody just because of the color of their skin. I'm sorry. Like, that ain't me. Like, I would like to know more about the candidate, right? I would like to actually participate and learn about who it is I'm voting for and what I'm voting for and what policies and that whole thing. That was kind of like my approach to politics back when I was in college. But I still didn't participate. I didn't vote. And I would talk about it like part of the reason why I wasn't involved, I wasn't engaged, was because I just didn't believe that my vote mattered. I didn't think my vote actually counted. I didn't know enough about
how it worked,
right? And my ex used to tell me, she's like, that's just ignorant. Like, that's dumb. Like, you need to educate yourself and get more involved, right? It wasn't until, and this is the truth, I want y'all to understand what I'm about to tell you. This is the God's honest truth. I used to watch Scandal.
I love that.
I'm not even gonna lie to y'all.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I used to watch Scandal.
Shonda, had me
the chokehold,
bro. And I'm watching this.
No, when Papa Pope came on, it was glorious.
But look, it got repetitive. I didn't finish the show, but I do remember feeling and thinking like there was something to, I don't know, just like it was something to like this idea of somebody behind the scenes, like especially like a black woman pulling the strings and running like the country and all this. Yeah, it's kind of deep state-ish, right? And Please hold on to that. Somebody write deep state down and conspiracy.
I just want.
I'm gonna come back
like
to
where
that.
you
I
going,
really
brother.
just want to know that the last 30 minutes, you guys have just been talking about how much you agree with each other. I really want to point that out, and I really want y'all to understand. We haven't touched any points. We don't know what anyone really stands on certain topics. I have no clue what you care about. I just know, like, you're just talking about how you guys think to get like.
Yeah, this is
I get
important.
it, though,
This
yeah.
is
What do you
important.
think about Kamala? Like, what like, I want to know what you think about Waltz. I want to know pure what you think. Like,
My opinions. Look, I'm a.
He's trying to get there. He's trying to build it.
We're gonna get to it. We building it out. Look, I wasn't.
This nigga is Eric Weinstein and Terrence Howard again.
oh my God, both of you motherfuckers just sitting across from each other.
I was like, yo, it's so funny because I'm like, they don't know what they about to be in for. Like, they really don't. Like, but
Well, let's set up the
I
basis
was
of your
like,
hypothesis.
How much?
Exactly.
How much did I want to give them?
This motherfucker, y'all opened it up like, who's
Nah, but look,
smarter?
but look.
Who's fucking smarter?
Wasn't into it until, again, and this is me being on the scandal after some time and going, all right, Shonda, what's really going on here? Boom, 2015,
Right.
2016, right? The new election cycle. Right. Donald Trump. So my brand, I'm into TV shows. I watch series. I watch all kinds of content.
The Apprentice.
Right? Clearly. But didn't watch The Apprentice. I was never really into Trump's content.
Right.
But the idea in my mind of somebody who has no background in politics,
Right.
no background in just any kind of like humanitarian work,
Yeah,
right?
no, just straight business.
Straight business, right? But I was just in my mind, I'm like, I think this is going to be more entertaining than Scandal. That was my initial thought process. My initial thought process.
Donald Trump, this is gonna be more entertaining than Scandal.
I was like, the idea of Donald Trump becoming the president of the United States.
And God damn it, wasn't it?
It really was.
I felt like that's television. I don't know why.
It
No,
was.
You hit it right on the head. That's exactly.
I was like, this is TV. So what I did was I paid attention from that point
Didn't we?
forward.
We literally
Bro.
just said that.
We've said this in episodes. We were like, man, this is why you can't have a nigga like Trump in politics.
Everyone's
Niggas
paying
pay
attention.
So
That's
I started
crazy.
to really pay attention
Facts, yeah.
more to politics after Trump, not because I was interested in politics.
No, but
I just was like, the idea again. This
It's
is
the show.
It's like reality. This is like
Yes.
like this is America. Like, of course, we would get to this point where now people are talking about somebody who has no inkling.
You've seen Idiocracy, right?
Yeah, we're there.
We're the yes.
I used to love when I woke up in the morning and opened Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, our president is beefing with Leonardo DiCaprio. Nice." Okay.
Our president's doing QVC ads.
I was playing overseas in
Rocket
Lithuania.
Man. He just called someone Rocket Man.
I was playing
Okay.
overseas in Lithuania at the time, and I remember one of my teammates, this white dude, he's from Rhode Island, and he, at the time too, like he was married,
Pro-Trump.
2 little girls.
Oh yeah.
It was, you know what I mean? Big business guy, and he was just like, he's like, LD, I'll tell you what. He's either gonna be the best president we've had, or he's gonna be the worst president we've had. But guess what? He's got my vote. Like he just was like, I think we need a businessman in office, and I was just like, I don't know, man. It just I just, against my better judgment here. This is a very important role here.
Yeah.
We should have somebody who has a background in this.
The thing is, I liked the idea of someone that doesn't necessarily, a maverick, if you will, that doesn't necessarily have ties and backgrounds. And, he hit people when he was like,
initial split. This is the ripping the seams right here.
The initial one. So this is the first time when he's going against Hillary. Now, have you? I voted for Hillary. I've always voted Democrat.
Yeah.
Because I'm just a...
You know your place, boy.
I'm just a product of my environment. But I've always But it was like, I feel like I lucked up because I didn't do nothing wrong.
Things just worked out the way they worked out.
I didn't do shit wrong. I did the right thing. I voted for her. So since I got all this entertainment and shit from Trump, I was like, this is y'all fault. I'm happy. Like, I'm good.
I will say the going with the what were we saying? When he said he liked the concept of, I think with some caveats, I do agree with that. Like, it would be cool to have, because, let's be real, career politicians are, no better than actors, if we're really being honest, generally speaking.
Yeah, no, dead ass.
And so I would like to have somebody who's like had some political working, like, I'm not mad at Hill Harper.
To be bipartisan, like, right? Again, like, this concept of bipartisanship is something I had to learn. I learned over the course of the last 8 years.
Right.
But that takes acting. Yes. For 100,000% to be bipartisan. But to have a knowledge of the law and the government.
To understand where you're walking into. Even if he was a lawyer who did...
there's a bar. There's a whole... But there's... then what's the point of college? What's the point of the academia? What's the... I'm saying...
I think that's why he...
If you could just walk into these... types of roles with no
I think
you have to have billions of dollars.
He could have picked a very good
saying?
vice president or something that maybe could have helped guide him in those instances, but he picked Mike Pence, which was some dumb shit. I'm not a lawyer, but I do a lot of legal shit because my lawyer
There was never
helps me.
He was entertaining from the jump, bro. Look. The Access Hollywood tape. Oh, yeah. That was entertainment. Yeah. What I'm doing. I was like, yo.
I laughed so fucking hard.
This is not okay.
This is awful.
That was entertainment, though.
It was awful.
All of the awful. I mean, bruh, it just, again, like, I saw something on Twitter and I just was like, all of the things that Donald Trump has done, anybody in your workplace, go do. Just go do everything.
You
can't do it. You can't do it. So why would anybody? Why would you? You know what I mean?
You know why though? Because I think it's the years of conditioning we've had of seeing this.
Thank you.
And we look at this man like.
I can understand black folk who've seen him their entire life on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
You know what that is? You know what that is, in my opinion? And this is a conversation that I do believe is going to come up in the next 10 to 20 years.
Right.
It's not going to happen right now. It's going to happen after Kamala wins.
Right.
And Trump MAGA ideology is driven back underground, right? That whole KK
for 4 more years.
For whatever. But it's really victims. These people are victims of targeted ideological subversion. It's targeted brainwashing. It's misinformation. It's an actual war tactic. That's what I'm saying. It's like we are under attack right now in a very real way. In a very, very, very real way. And that's why I'm saying this is how you combat it. Like, this idea that you got to be a patriot, you got to be a soldier, that you got to have a gun. Oh, yeah. And that's the only way to be strong. Ready. But listen, man, what I'm saying is, first and foremost, ain't no civil war happening unless it's gonna, you know what I mean? Like, do you remember maybe 10 years ago when they was doing the drills in Baltimore? Remember they was doing they was doing drills for the Middle East in Detroit and Baltimore, just randomly, and they didn't even tell the people.
No, I didn't know.
In the
are you talking about the Israel training, how they train them out here and then send them over there, or
our government was doing some kind of secret, but it wasn't secret. They didn't tell nobody in these black neighborhoods yo, we're about to just start bombing shit and blowing shit up next to you in these empty.
So they took it just in those neighborhoods. It's fucked up anyway.
But what I'm saying is, if a civil war is going to happen, in my opinion, that's how it's going to happen. Our government and our military, right, is not. Excuse me, my friends. I don't know if you cuss on here. It's not to fuck around. You. Oh yes. There's plenty of people who live in rural areas who have guns, right? I get that.
But
I
that's
understand
not-
that.
yeah.
But what I'm talking about is okay, you're going to literally, like, these people are going to say, I'm so patriotic. I love my country so much. I'm going to literally fight my government. And mind you,
Right.
while we're pouring resources into fighting an insurrection, what do you think our enemies are going to be doing?
Right.
So you're so patriotic and you want to fight for your country so bad that you want to start a civil war
With people
and
in your
open
country.
up
Yeah.
lanes of attack for our enemies to come in while we're having a fight.
And
So
honestly,
it
I
doesn't
think
even make sense.
it doesn't even make sense. And on top of that, I think going back to the Yuri Bezmenov thing, going back to even what China's doing, like, if we're really being honest too, they're not gonna. I feel like a lot of people aren't even gonna have to come over here. They're already here.
They are here, but what I'm saying, this idea that this war that's coming,
Yeah, I
This-
think it's
this coming
world
war-
I don't think it's here.
there is a war happening right now, but it's not a war with guns. It's
yeah.
a war. It's an information war. That's the future of warfare. You got to think about, okay, we're America, right? We got the biggest guns. We got the most money. And we bully people pretty much for a living is what we do. The warfare that different countries and other, like, our enemies, our adversaries, and, you know, when they look at America, and we're part of NATO. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
You don't want to fight us.
you're
on
not
some-
just
yeah.
gonna come beat us up or bomb us, or, you know what I mean? You have to do something more strategic
Yes.
that we haven't defended ourselves against yet.
That's why 9/11 was so bad, because it was something that
Psychologically,
that's what I mean. We didn't
psychologically, and I was in DC. I lived in Washington DC
wow.
when that happened.
I lived in New Jersey.
Yeah, it was.
They took me out of school.
My mom. I remember, bro. It was early in the morning. I
I could smell it from my school and my house. I could.
My mom
smell
kicked open my door. I was like, "What's going on?" I thought I was in trouble. I was like, "What?" I was like, trying to think, like, what I do? Like, what teacher didn't call? I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, I was about to get a whooping in front of the whole class." She was like, "You coming with me?"
Yep.
Did past the Pentagon to get back to my house. So I saw it was on fire. The whole
Right.
I was like, "Yo, what's going on right now?" Again, like,
crazy.
politics and all this. I was 11 years old. I wasn't.
yeah.
I wasn't really into it. I was like, why would somebody fly a plane into the building? And Iran, Afghanistan, all these. I didn't get nothing.
And they
But-
really turned it on the TVs. Like, we all sat there
Oh,
and
literally.
watched it.
Yeah,
in
I watched it.
school.
I watched it
Like,
happen.
I saw it. I
watched it.
remember being, it was like 10, 11.
But this was the first time that I started to when I started to peep, like, some of the conversations not too long after that about, again, like, it being an inside job, right?
Yeah.
And these conspiracies,
Tower
right?
7.
These conspiracies started to kind of creep into my life where I'm like, would our government do that? Like,
Hell yeah.
would they? Yeah, right. But I'm starting. This is how I'm educating myself, right?
The
like,
building was full of asbestos.
for all these things, and people are saying all these.
The owner just took an insurance policy out last week.
I was more attuned, again, like, before Trump,
Yeah.
to actually look at and question a lot of these things that, you know, we're being fed. Like, okay, because, again, like, you got to remember, y'all, like, because people started to question everything. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
when Trump came along, people questioned everything. There was a point where you question logical, sensible things to question. Then it became where it's like, is the earth flat? Like, this became a topic of conversation on so many platforms and people
Yeah.
and just everybody. And it's like,
We
think about what
reverted.
think about it. We're now retarded.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, no, yes.
you know,
We said that like
We
8
said that like
times
8
last
times
week.
the last
no.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, though, like, I don't know if it is retardation or not, because what I'm saying is it's a new phenomenon. It's something that we haven't been exposed to.
Right.
A mass disinformation campaign targeted, where we're being targeted, the general population, again, to not be able to, in Yuri's own words,
Yeah.
to not be able to discern between meaningful information. Okay.
Yeah.
And now, enter Trump.
And real and fake.
I think it's too much. So it's
too much
like it's
information.
too much information coming into us, because back before Twitter and all that, we had our local news channels and we had maybe Yahoo News on the front page, and that's what we'll see.
Yeah.
We weren't disseminating other people's traumas. Africa was going on in the Congo. I wasn't seeing airplanes crash
Also,
in
they
Sao
were
Paulo.
all written
I
by
wasn't
fucking
seeing-
real journalists. It's not just some nigga who's sitting on the toilet.
I agree again. And listen, that's what I'm saying. I'm so glad again. The real journalists. Okay, so to be a real journalist, what does that entail?
Going to school for journalists.
Having integrity.
Yeah.
Having a knowledge of the etiquette involved in journalism, how to
it's
check
done.
sources, how to corroborate sources and information, how to do your due diligence and wait for, this process to take place before you just go. Okay. Kellyanne Conway. And it's so cool. Like, I just said her name live on the air and, people can see. But, like, Kellyanne Conway. Do you guys remember Kellyanne Conway?
Remember that bitch?
I know the
You
name.
remember Kellyanne? Do you remember what Kellyanne did?
Let me see.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And I was, because remember, I started paying attention, right? So now I'm really watching the news and I'm watching the White House
Wasn't
press
she the press
briefings.
speaker?
Huh?
She was the speaker.
You know what she said?
What did she say?
Bruh,
She said a bunch of shit.
she said alternative facts. And then the country was cooked ever since. It was done. You guys was
Alternative
toast. Y'all was done, bruh. I'm telling you. She said she was being questioned by ABC, MSNBC, somebody, and he was going off about, I forget exactly what it was, but something that Trump was doing, and she said, and he was like, these are the facts, you guys are just lying, and she goes, well, we have alternative facts. I
alternative facts are
literally,
not facts.
my head. This is in 2016. My shit blew up, bro. For 8 years, I've been living with this migraine.
They are professional gaslighters.
Oh,
over
for
there.
sure.
Like
Bro,
they're like it's like
alternative facts. Okay, so now there's no more facts. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got the White House telling the public, forget facts.
Okay.
That is step one.
So where do you get
Of
your news from, Larry?
authoritarians.
Where do you get your news from? Like, what's your go-to news channel? Like Twitter,
Yeah.
And then you go fact check.
and then you go fact check it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, nigga. You think Twitter is a good place to get your news from?
It's not the only place I get my news, but it's my primary. Like this
It's the quickest.
to keep up in real time with current events around the world.
Yeah.
I use Twitter.
Right.
And then yes, from
So
what
then-
I see or hear or read, I okay, this is interesting. Like a lot. Listen, y'all. I'm good now at smelling bullshit.
Yeah.
You want to know one of my cardinal rules? Cardinal rules. Rule number one. Rule number one at the top of my shit. What do you think it is? What do you think rule number one is?
If it hasn't been
Make sure it's
reported by multiple
corroborated.
places,
Yeah.
If Donald Trump says it,
it's not true.
it's either a lie
Fair.
or a projection. One of those two.
That's fair.
He's not telling the truth. He's either lying or he's projecting. So look, you know what that does for me? Makes my job of deciphering and discerning between meaningful information, because I know what Trump is.
Right.
I know he's an agent of chaos. I know he's not here to lead us or to be for us or to help Americans. He is literally running to stay out of prison
Help himself.
for himself. So he cares nothing about truth.
But would he
don't
be
care about
going
the
to
truth.
prison if he wasn't running?
Probably not.
That's what I'm getting at.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. And
They
you wanna know-
leave him alone.
You wanna know why? Probably not.
corrupt.
You wanna know why? Because again, and this is the both sides, right? Like, I have to like stop sometimes and think, like, am I really this upset at like Donald Trump, or is it more so like I'm just feeling the times, right? And it's just like, for somebody like a Trump to exist, there needs to be an entire population of people that
Thank you.
exist,
Yes.
that are willing and ready to take in this
Yes.
willful ignorance, right? And to just be like, okay, again, like I'm gonna leverage capitalism, I'm gonna leverage democracy, I'm gonna leverage these
border.
very real,
Yeah.
practical settings and terms to hide the fact that my character is flawed.
Yeah.
My character, my soul is flawed, and I like, again, and this is the probably the most uncomfortable conversation that people don't want to have, is like, oh, well, these are my thoughts. I have the freedom to speak what I want.
Right.
But you have the freedom to be a bigot, because that's what you are. You have the freedom to be a racist, because that's what you are. You have like, okay, yeah, like, do and say and feel how you want, but the world is moving in a direction that that's why you have to hide. That's why you know what I mean? Like, we've been fighting the same fight. It's the same war. It's the same enemy. It's ignorance. It's these people don't look like me, so I don't like them, you know, or we don't like them. We don't like these people. They not like me, or they believe in a different God, so I don't like them. Or,
well, what's crazy too is I just feel like also, if you pay attention, just like what you were saying earlier, how you were like, we have to kind of figure out a way to build our own resources, because I forgot who I heard say this, but I was like, damn, the further you go up the financial chain, that shit kind of.
That's a whole different world.
No, but that's all I'm getting at.
The world is
it shows
the money,
you though.
the money side. And I'm not a money guy.
Yeah,
like don't get me wrong. Like I like money, but
you want money to be comfortable. You're not trying to be. I got the most.
I look at money more so from a spiritual aspect, to say like it's a means to barter.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. Exactly. It's a tool. It's just a tool, and it there's no value in it to the value that we give.
Bruh, there ain't shit in it.
There's no actual value to this paper. Exactly. Yes. It's not based on anything except for what we believe it to be.
Which shows you.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So in reality, right? And this is okay, and I'm gonna go here with y'all because I appreciate y'all. I do. No real shit. I do.
I got you.
The conversations that we do need to be having, right? These are conversations they want us to have, right? Okay, we got to break out of these traps, the narratives, right? The racism.
Yeah, I agree.
And the whataboutism, and people feeling like, you know, I'm not being heard, so I'm gonna completely, totally disregard the struggles and the nuances and the cultural aspects of other people who have been here and who are also have, you know, a voice. And damn everything that people have fought for. I'm only concerned about myself and my people. Yeah. Like, we got to get past all of that. You want to know why? Because we're on the same earth, and we are actually all the same people. So as humans, right, we've been taught different nations, different religions, different, you know, these are divisive. These are ultimately, at the end of the day, they divide us. Now, it's not to say, look, the Olympics are great. We love the Olympics. We love competition. We love, you know, there's a spirit in competitive situations to say, like, we look like us, and then they look like them. So how are we going to compete, right? But in the greater aspect of survival, right, you can compete, but, like, again, okay, natural selection says, in that regard, you're competing to survive, right? Like, the best traits are being passed off to the offspring for the purpose of continuing to produce offspring for the point of survival. So it's like, what are we doing any of this for?
I feel like our problem is, you got to think where we come from and, like, the species that we are. We're not supposed to interact with this many people. I think once we realized that the world was this big, this is what fucks us up. Like, we have our tribes. Like, we had our.
Do you know what a superorganism is?
I've heard the name, but I don't know.
Do you know what a superorganism is?
It's basically Twitter. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it basically is Twitter. Actually, it's a good example.
A superorganism is a group of synergetically interacting organisms of the same species. So our globe is a
well, I'll put it like this, like a beehive.
Right. Okay.
Superorganism, right? Like, they legit function as individual components to
help the greater good.
To help the greater good. But that, again, they move as one, literally. Like, it's one entity broken down into smaller components, smaller separate components. But it is one entity. We should be more like a superorganism
100%.
as humans, but we're not. We're not close. We're not anywhere close to being cohesive enough to coexist in a way that would be able to allow us to look at the big. I mean,
big
like
picture.
The grand scheme of everything.
And what's the biggest picture? What's the biggest picture?
World peace.
I think it's deeper than that. I think we're still young as a species to even understand what the bigger picture is.
See,
I feel
these
like
are the conversations we need to be having.
I feel like we just got here, bro.
Yeah.
We literally we're going through our
world peace, in my opinion, and this is what people talk about, like eradicating evil. I don't think it's possible because, again, at the end of the day, like, let me put it like this: evil might not have been the best choice of words because it's religion and God and that whole thing, right? I'm saying from a scientific standpoint, right?
Right.
People make choices. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't assume that everybody's going to make choices like you. Like I do wish, like I kind of just live in a space of treat everybody how you want to be treated. Golden rule, right?
Same.
I would assume, but that's an assumption. I assume that me doing something for somebody else that I feel like I would want to be done for me would make that person feel like I would feel, but I might not be right. Yeah. That's an assumption. And we see every day that assumption fail because there's quote unquote evil. Like there are plenty of people who treat people worse than I'm sure that they would like to be treated. Right. And a lot of that is taught. A lot of that is, trauma generation is broken down, but it does keep us enabled to grasp a larger picture here. And the larger picture that I'm leading you guys to is ultimately it's space.
We're going here.
It's space.
Well, here's my thoughts on, because I know you sent over the stuff by Greer, and then I've heard a little bit of the Bob Lazar stuff. So like I get where you're going, but my one question is, even when I said world peace, I wasn't necessarily saying like people don't fight. I was just saying more of a world where
there's something out there for everybody. Everybody's made to feel happy. The government gives everybody exactly what they want. That's not gonna happen.
No, I don't want that.
Yeah, there's gonna be people who are unhappy. There's gonna be people who don't feel like the establishment is for them. There's always going to be a group of, and there's always going to be a movement, a counter movement. That's the pendulum. That's the swinging of everything.
Conspiracy theory time. I don't think human beings are foreign to Earth. I don't think we're from here. I think that when the asteroid came, I think it was a hydrogen or some type of water-based asteroid. It came, it hit Earth, boom. Molecules. Start coming.
You know what that's called? It's called panspermia.
I think we're the spermia. And then the thing is, and then I feel like
no facts.
No facts. I'm sorry, Larry.
No.
I ain't got no facts right now.
I feel
like the water is what connects us all, because we all 95, 80, 90% water. I feel like the water is a singular organism. Yes, we are allowed to have our own thoughts and everything, but what connects us all is the water.
H2O.
It's H2O.
We are hydrogen.
We're hydrogen beings. Now, the reason I said I don't think we're of Earth is because all the other animals and creatures that are of Earth kind of move with the rhythms of Earth. Like when things are about to happen, they know to move.
But
I think
that's conditioning that we've lost that.
That we've lost because we're not grounded.
We're not. Well, not only we're not grounded, it's just, once again, back to the distractions, back to like everything. Like our mind doesn't work. Like there was a time, I really do feel, in primitive times, we could have walked in a room and I could just give you a look and not really know you, and we still
communicate.
We could communicate in some form or fashion.
That's what they say too. Even
we didn't have words,
70% of
so
communication is nonverbal.
Beanie Siegel said that.
Yeah,
he said it at the beginning of feeling
in the air.
Did y'all play Pokemon?
Nigga, yes.
Did y'all play?
I had gold. I had yellow. I had red.
Yeah. So you remember, like, and I was an avid Pokemon. Like I used to go to sleep at night and pray.
Real nigga.
To wake up like in Kyoto
region.
I just want to go be. I just want to be a Pokemon.
What's your favorite Pokemon?
Bruh.
This is easy.
Honestly, bro, you want to know who my at the height of my days as a Pokemon master and trainer, when I used to do the battles and do the competitive shit, the one I sent out first, you know who it was?
Who?
Gengar.
Gengar was your nigga?
Gengar.
Why do niggas love Mewtwo though? Because I love Mewtwo.
You wanna know why? Because I would just use hypnosis, put you to sleep, and then use Dream Eater.
They beat your ass.
Done. Dream Eater was like psychic. Dream Eater literally was like psychic, but it gave you HP, and they couldn't wake. So
My man
this
knows
is my
his hit points. And then my man knows his hit points. My man knows
strategy, everything. So, but one of the things about Pokemon they taught me was, you remember, is okay because I didn't play like Zelda. It looked like Zelda. Remember, like 2D characters and shit. So I'm like what is like. Like I'm really remember as a kid, I'm like kindergarten, first grade, like trying to play like blue version. Like, what is going on out here? And I'm just roaming around. And I realized like the more you talk to people and just go up to different people, just like life, the more you just go up to people and just talk to them, they give you information about what you can do. And then you can uncover new things, right?
What is
like,
life,
oh my goodness, like life. And then what did it ultimately come back to? A legendary ancient Pokemon of some sort. That you had to uncover the riddle, right?
Right.
The riddle of this ancient deity of a Pokemon that came and created the region to create. Okay, these origin stories, right, is reflective of real life too, because all these civilizations, every civilization on Earth, credits. Right,
sun gods and
and all these people that come from the heavens, and what have you. So, you know,
so you think the heavens might be just space?
Aliens.
Well, I mean, but like this, I ask people all the time. Okay, pyramids, right? Let's look at the pyramids.
No clue how they were made. Still.
No. See,
Eddie Griffin says they were made with sound.
No, that's the angle. That's the angle you've been taught to look at the pyramids.
Okay.
I want you to look at it from different angles. Okay. Just functionally, a pyramid, right? Like structurally speaking.
Right.
What is it?
Didn't they say it's a antenna or like a?
No. I'm saying the structure of a pyramid.
Oh.
What is what is the shape of a pyramid?
A triangle. Or
okay.
Like a peak,
how many sides does it have?
Pyramid's the shape of a pyramid.
How many sides does a pyramid have?
4,
Think about
right?
it. 4, and then maybe one on the bottom.
Yeah.
But like before, around, right?
Right.
Just in general, general idea of a pyramid, right?
Right.
Why is there a general idea of a pyramid?
Oh, prior to the pyramids.
Well, okay. Like when I say pyramid, what pyramid do you think of?
I think of schemes, and then I think of
all the pyramids of Egypt.
All these
Giza.
shits.
Okay, yeah. So what you put in? What is this? Google?
I just put pyramid. Yeah.
Okay, so you type in pyramid into Google. What does it show you?
This is which one is
which
this?
ones are those? So you got Egypt. Okay, now Egypt. A lot of Egypt, mainly Egypt. Is that one in Egypt?
That's
Egypt
too?
Egyptian pyramids.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
So. That's what I'm saying. We've been taught to assimilate this structure of a pyramid with these shapes and what you see in Egypt. Now, we all know that there are pyramids elsewhere.
Right.
Right?
Well,
now,
the Aztecs made.
Where else do we see pyramids?
Yeah, the Aztecs.
Yeah,
in Mexico.
Mesoamerica, Central America, right? There are also pyramids in
the rainforest.
Different parts in like the Middle East. In China, there's pyramids they found. There's pyramids all over the world. Did you know that there's pyramids all over the world? Pyramids all over the world.
So what are you
saying? So I want to ask you a question. Why are pyramids all the same shape?
Because it's where the aliens. That's where the aliens know where to park.
No. But what I'm asking, but look at it. These civilizations didn't necessarily. They weren't around at the same time.
Right.
They weren't in the same geographical location. It's not like they were communicating to each other to say, "Hey, look, I got a pyramid. Build this."
Right.
So what I'm saying is,
they were building them all at different times.
How are all these different civilizations in different time periods across the span of the globe all building the same shaped structures?
That's fair. That's a very good way to look at it.
So we're saying aliens. Everybody, we're saying aliens.
He just want to get to the answer.
I just want you guys to say the fucking word. It's aliens, right?
Or if it's not that, the only other logical thing I would say is the same way I was saying we were all at one point in a sense, because I do believe in energy. I do believe that there are things that, like, we were probably all on the same page of sorts in one time, but we just.
So okay, yeah. So to be on the same page of sorts,
yes,
right?
Yeah,
means that we have to, and just looking at what I would call proof,
yeah,
or evidence.
The evidence,
but okay, so you look at the evidence here, and you say, there are different civilizations, different time periods all around the world building the same structures to honor what they say are their gods. Who taught them how to
perfectly build these.
So I would say that you can reasonably conclude that they're being taught to build these structures by the same builder. Over the span of hundreds of thousands of years.
Okay, I see what you're getting at.
Who
is
that? Okay.
Who is that builder?
God. I get it. God. But, like, okay.
Yeah.
They, right?
Yeah, right.
Who's they?
Well, the thing is, a lot of, like, the hieroglyphs and, like, pictures of their gods, they actually, like, are similar around the world. Like, they all, like, look something the same, like they, as well as the pyramids, but like
you see similarities in cultures, right? Is what 100%. I'm saying from an architectural standpoint. Like, they're being taught to build structures and to live under certain conditions, you know, within certain means.
But I don't know.
And they're saying all the same things. Like, they came from up there down here. They taught us, and then they left.
I don't know what I would do if a wolf nigga came up to me.
Probably wouldn't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yo,
build this triangle, nigga.
I don't know. I have no idea. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, but ancient astronaut theory says that.
Ancient astronaut theory.
Yes. Ancient astronaut theory says that. I'll read it. Ancient astronauts refer to a pseudoscientific set of beliefs that hold the intelligent extraterrestrial beings visited Earth and made contact with humans in antiquity and prehistoric times. In a nutshell. And we interpreted such beings, you know, as gods, and then we told these stories, we passed these stories down, and here we are. But now, you know, we've been taught to believe that UFOs are make believe in sci-fi and all this stuff. And hello, you wake up a couple years ago and the Pentagon is out here.
Oh, UAPs. We changed the name.
Nigga, last year they just they literally had a UFO. Like, there was videos of the UFO, like. And everybody was like, yeah, and that shit just went away.
So
the government said 2 years ago, oh yeah, there's aliens. And niggas just was like,
remember they tried to go to Area 51?
How are we ever going to... But I really want to... Do you see? This is where I live. I live in this space, right?
No, I get it.
The politic talk and you know what I'm saying? Ultimately,
you think these are pieces that are in the deeper thing that
these are why we're being distracted from this conversation.
The reptiles.
To talk about, the economy, race. Let's talk about these things. Let's have an election every 4 years. Let's stay talking about the same things that are issues, right? These are all issues.
Also, before we had TV and shit, though, you got to think, before we had the TV and the internet and all this shit, man, the election, the Olympics, and fucking sports games were the best thing running to distract us. I mean, that was it. Now we got
Los Angeles, California was the entertainment capital of the world, and people came from all over to come here to do what we're doing now. Is to give their opinion and to try to make it and to just dream and
you had to come here or New York to
come here. That's what I'm saying. Like there's energy is transferred. So I'm saying, and that can't be forgotten. Like, we have a responsibility, a due diligence to be stewards of energy ultimately, and
Facts.
like where are we shifting and putting our energy? Because it's gonna for every action there's a reaction. That's energy, right? And we have to account for the future. We have to understand the past and account for the future to know where we are right now.
Yeah,
right?
and not live in the past.
I believe, like, again, people talk about like dimensions, right? Okay. This kind of sidetrack, but I believe that we are in a 3-dimensional space. It takes time for 3-dimensional space to be transformed.
So we're 2D beings or we 4D beings?
We are 3D, right? Because we can move up, down, left, right, forward, back. Those are the 3 dimensions. Like if you watch this screen right here, look at the screen. You see the screen? This is 2D. Now, if you put on 3D glasses or goggles, what happens?
So we're 3rd-dimensional beings, but we only see in the 2nd dimension. Because that's a rule.
No. We see. Look, I'm gonna tell you. We see 3D, 3 dimensions.
Okay.
3-dimensional space.
Okay.
This is what we're in. But our
brain only computes it in.
Nope.
Okay, come on.
Our bodies.
Come on, because I'm about to look it up real quick.
Our bodies. Okay, so look. Who are you? What are you?
What you mean?
Who are you?
Maestro.
What are you though?
Oh, a human.
But like, what are you?
Molecules.
See what I'm saying?
Molecules put together. Yeah.
Are you molecules put together?
So I've heard.
You're your body.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. Okay, fair. Yeah, no, right. What is the life force that keeps this going?
What is consciousness?
Yes. Okay.
What are you?
Yeah,
I think.
Like a soul?
Therefore, I am René Descartes. Okay. What are you? You're a thought. You're not your body. You're a perception of space and time itself, perceiving itself through a body, but you and me is you. We are all the same because we're all perceiving consciously. So what I'm saying is to perceive something consciously and to then manifest something in the 3-dimensional space, there's a gap.
Yes.
It takes the 4th dimension of time to bridge that gap. So we are 5th dimensional beings ultimately up here, and we perceive what decisions we need to make. It takes time for the manifestation to implement in the 3rd dimension across the 4th dimensional gap of time.
Right.
But we are up here.
That makes sense. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
So then where do you feel that 5th dimension goes when you die?
You said it not too long ago. Some things I don't think we can perceive yet.
Right.
But you also just said it. Energy transfers. Energy can't
It
be
does.
destroyed.
Nothing. That's what I'm saying.
If energy can't be destroyed,
Yeah, like,
where does it go?
Where does it go? Right? Like I don't. Yeah. Nothing ends.
Right.
There's no beginning and there's no end.
NERD. Nothing ever really dies.
It is what it is, and what it is energy. We are living in some kind of energetic state in which we have the power to influence and shift
real world
energy.
Yeah, well, energy.
Energy. Yeah, that's all it is. It's energy.
Events,
yeah. So that we can't forget this. That's what I'm saying. We can't forget it.
Crazy, yeah.
Again, in the state of the election, right, where it's like the past. I just feel like, my ancestors, our ancestors, they would look at the 2 parties or whatever, right? Again, like, remember, I told you, like, I wasn't into politics until I started to I was like, I just need some entertainment in my life.
Right.
I'm watching Trump. When I started peeping what Trump was doing, how he's lying, how he's just, what the tactics are, and the more I started to research the Roger Stones and the behind the scenes kinds of cats and characters, and again, I get it. Like, both sides of the aisle are guilty.
I was gonna say, who is the Democrats?
Both
Roger
sides of the
Stone?
aisle are guilty. But I admit I'm ignorant to politics prior to 2016.
Right.
In the Democrat, because I wasn't into it. Again, I started paying attention once I heard alternative facts.
And you're like,
when I heard alternative facts, I was like, no. Let's stop this.
That's a lie.
But I can't stop it. And then what happened after that?
Fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news. It got worse and worse to the point to where, bro, we had a global pandemic. We had a pandemic. This is the test of all tests.
Trust the science.
Is to say, okay, let's see how scientifically enough. Okay, what do you do? Like, we all play video games as kids, and you see like the zombie movies. What's the first rule? Don't touch them people. Don't get bit. Don't get splashed on.
Yeah.
You got to be far away from them.
Bleach. Maybe we inject a little bleach.
But it wasn't the bleach. That was dumb in its own right.
Lights,
There's
high-powered
nothing
lights.
more dumb. He disbanded Obama's pandemic emergency response team. Did you guys know that?
Didn't he do it right before the pandemic happened?
Yeah.
Okay. And then he called it the China flu. But like, you disbanded
Where'd it come from?
the response team
China.
for a pandemic. And then you told people it was just the flu. Now, I get it. Okay. I don't get it. That was dumb. I don't know why you would just tell somebody it was just the flu. You don't even know what it is. But did you guys see the interview where I forgot who it was with, but he said it and he got quiet. And for the life of me, I don't understand why nobody else seems to have seen this. But
What is it? Which one?
he says, I knew it was more deadly than just the flu. I just did not want to cause a panic. But I knew it was more deadly than the flu. I knew it. He said, you look it up. Look it up right now. Trump admits he knew it was more deadly than the flu. There's an audio tape.
But my thing
So
is
what I'm
like
asking you
calling Trump
Why
dumb
would
is
you
easy.
do that? Why would you? No. You know how many people?
Like, he does dumb shit.
No,
He's a
didn't.
bad.
No. That's not just dumb. That's irresponsible.
No,
That's just like.
dumb people are irresponsible as
Look,
hell.
you see the first one,
yeah.
the Woodward tapes, right? No, bro. The first step into containing a pandemic or a viral outbreak is to identify it and then to label it as the threat that it is, so that people don't get what they get.
What they get. Yeah. I mean, I'm actually. I feel like there was a lot of people in cahoots on that, but I feel like he was definitely in the wrong.
Our leader.
Yeah, but we know he not really leading.
I'm saying that
But
it was I saw it coming.
Why can't I hear this?
It just it doesn't make sense. And then people continue and they'll be like, yeah, well, China did it to us. And I'm like, bruh, do you understand how much better it could have been? We didn't need to be locked up that long had we just identified it and took care of it and did what
properly.
the experts and the professionals had suggested. But what did he do?
But then the
He
experts
vilified him. He said he said it's their fault.
Goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. The
Tougher
touch,
than
you don't
the
have
touch.
to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air, and that's how it's passed. And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus. This is more deadly. This is 5 per. This is 5% versus 1% and less than 1%. So this is deadly stuff. Well, I think, Bob, really, to be honest with you,
Sure, I want you to.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes,
Because I don't want to create a panic.
Okay,
Bob,
just pause.
Sure, no,
Just
yeah.
pause. Okay, wait. Well, so that's dumb.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't know. But I'm not gonna sit here and say this is all him thinking this though.
I'm saying what he said. But
I think there's someone. I think there are more people involved in.
Well, yeah, I mean, when
making
you're
him play it down.
president, you have a cabinet, you got people you take. But one thing that we know to be true about Trump is he doesn't want people giving him suggestions. He wants loyalists that do what he says.
Mhm.
He's not somebody you can give advice to. He thinks he knows everything clearly
yeah.
because it's the only. I'm just saying, from a scientific standpoint, if there's a viral outbreak, the first thing you're supposed to do is protect the
people.
the people, right?
Yeah,
and you can't protect the people if you're saying to them, "Don't worry about it. it's just the flu. Go outside. And then behind closed doors, you're saying, I knew it was 5 times more deadly than the flu. And then you got all these people that are willing to continuously excuse that.
Yeah,
why?
Because they hit us
the
with the
economy
other side.
today is a direct like the fact that Biden inherited that and where we are today.
Yeah, But my
let's
thing is
be
the
sensical.
But here's the thing: the people. It got hard for people to trust after that. Because
Do you know why?
Then they started
because
peddling
the
shots.
cabinet said we have alternative facts. Alternative fact. Do you see what I'm saying? That was it. After alternative facts was muttered,
You're saying people just stopped using They're just like, oh, right. So that could be true too.
whatever Trump in the White House says is their version of the fact. That's what we're gonna go with.
What did you think about the vaccine mandate? How do you feel about the vaccine mandate?
I mean, there's been vaccine mandates before in history.
the
This is not the
vaccine-
first one. This is not the first one. You
Yeah,
know what I
but
mean?
this- this was a
just
special
made,
case.
like that was made.
Well, look,
like,
okay,
all
let's
the junk
okay
and
now
all
let's
that.
consider let's
And then
take
you're
all
like,
things
you
into
just, like,
consideration.
follow this
Let's
system to the side.
let's take all things into consideration. If you're the CDC, you're the World Health Organization, okay, and typically you work with America, you work with the United States, and typically you work with a president or a leader of the United States who adheres to your suggestive advice anytime there's a emergency or a threat. Okay. In the case of Donald Trump, which we now know, he always knew it was exactly what the CDC and Fauci and the World Health Organization said it was from the jump. We know that now.
But Fauci also did say
Wait,
that
whoa,
he had
whoa.
no part in creating it in the beginning and didn't come from China.
No. He said I had no part in testing something. Some kind. There's
But he set up the lab.
Some kind of a test. Yes, true. But again, go back to my rule, right? Trump. If it's comes from Trump, it's a lie or a projection or a projection. That the projections are he intertwines and weaves them very delicately in with the lies. But if he says somebody else is doing something, he's doing it. That's it. That's what I'm saying. If he says somebody else
I can see that
is
angle.
guilty of
I can
something,
see that angle.
he's the one that's guilty of it. That's what projection is. So with that, right, if you would have just taken the advice, right, of the people who told you, and they said it, now that you just said, I knew it, and you didn't lie to the public in the most crucial of times, in the beginning, as the start of an outbreak, how much different could that time period have been, and then how many people would have died?
Do we
in the
have
season?
any examples of any other pandemics that were quelled that were that were possibly as
We've completely eradicated old viruses
Spanish
and
flu was
diseases
like the last one.
and measles, and vaccines work. Science works.
I
and
think there's
vaccines
more.
work.
I think there's more.
It's just a matter of if you have the leader of the free world lying to you and literally trying to convince the general public because he's a foreign asset of an adversary nation, and he's specifically working against the common.
Oh, so you think he's Russia?
Yes, bro.
So you believe all the Russia collusion?
he got pissed on, and Putin has a video of him getting peed on.
So I've
in
heard.
Russia.
Did you see?
So I've heard.
Did you see? And shout out
The
to my
moderate
dude.
in me wants to be like, what about the Hunter Biden laptop? Nah!
I literally have a video of him weighing up crack and fucking hookers with guns in my phone.
Shout out my dude.
It's
Seth,
crazy.
Seth Abramson. But did you?
I
that was
looked
a
at some
link
of those
I wanted
notes.
you guys
Yeah.
to check out. Go to SethAbramson.net.
I looked at the. I didn't get to finish it, but I looked at the COVID one. That was the exact
Net,
one.
yeah. So here's an independent journalist turned Trump expert. So when people say, "Well, where's the proof that he was doing any of this with Russia?" Wait, before you go back.
Before COVID.
But just go back. Where's the proof? Proof of corruption. Scroll down.
Where at?
Keep scrolling. Just
Oh,
scroll.
keep going.
Scroll. there's proof of conspiracy. Keep scrolling.
Okay.
And there's proof
of collusion. You don't get that one out for free.
You can wait. And there's excerpts. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Where's
so
the excerpt for the collusion?
I don't think Seth made the excerpts available for collusion, but
he did for
conspiracy and for what's the first?
So he had the
corruption.
China,
now look.
Turkey.
Admittedly, never read these books, but you want to know something? I didn't need to read them. You want to know why? Because I kept up with all this shit. I'm just glad, yes, that I can now direct people back to somebody who I know has recorded it all. For people, again, who are saying like, well,
listen,
where's the proof? Where's the evidence?
This is what This is one of those. I'm gonna make sure I read these, and you coming back for sure.
Yeah, no, proof of corruption, proof of collusion. But
hold on, let's give us a good one though to tap into.
Okay, put like this.
COVID maybe, because we were just talking about it.
Yeah, you could do COVID.
They are. I remember seeing this. I was like, oh, these are.
And it's. I mean, it's none of it. Like what? Like I'm saying this is what a journalist looks like.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
This is what you got your sites,
and not only that, there's a whole lot of context,
bro. You need context. So that's what I'm saying. These are the people. Like again, like all right, where do I get my info from? I get it from Twitter. I get a lot of the stuff about Trump from Seth, and I'll say that I follow Seth's Twitter page and. Especially like a lot of these, like or more so, like remember, or you guys probably didn't watch it. I watched it, the January 6 hearings.
I watched.
So he'll do like live threads on Twitter for people who can't actually like watch a lot of the stuff that's going on, and basically just keep everybody up to date. But yeah, I wouldn't cite CNN. I wouldn't cite.
No,
Fox.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't cite
MSNBC. No.
I would cite like again somebody else who has done the work, right? And that I've studied up on, that I've corroborated,
yeah,
right. And now I go, okay, this is a trusted source. And again, there's no opinion here.
It's just all
there's
facts.
No opinion. There's nothing subjective about any of this contextual information.
And that's my problem, literally, with like traditional news media, where it's like now it's just you can see who works for who. Like it's like this is just dumb. Like I don't want to go to turn on Fox News and just hear like Trump, and I don't want to turn on fucking MSNBC and then people are saying shit like, well, Biden has COVID and Trump got shot, but like, isn't it kind of the same thing? Like, stop it. Like nobody has any.
This is why I was in a chokehold.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, it just takes people. Personally, like you gotta again it goes back to the 5D, your 5-dimensional conscious self to say I'm gonna make a decision, and it's gonna take time for this decision to show results in the 3rd dimension, because I'm gonna have to ask a bunch of questions. I'm gonna have to do a bunch of research.
It's like success. You just have to. You have the idea. I want to do this. Then you set out. It's like one of my favorite books is The Alchemist. And it literally tells you, it's like anytime you want to do something, everything in the universe conspires to help you.
50 people will be like, bro, you got to read The Alchemist. Like, you get it. I'm just.
Oh, you haven't read it?
Honestly,
you love it.
I read a lot of books. I don't read
audiobook?
a lot. I audiobook, and I watch a lot of. I'm a visual kind of. I watch so many documentaries, docuseries, like so much, but
helps it stick better too, like mentally.
Personally, but again, it's not. I'm not bored watching this shit.
Right, you're
I'm watching to learn.
Right, right.
Again, why are you? Everything is a tool. The internet is a tool. Why are you using this tool? I use these tools to learn.
Yeah, if I'm on YouTube,
so that I can have conversations, so I can go educate people, so I can apply it.
Yeah.
But most people are literally just bored. Don't know what the fuck they doing.
And they turn on the same shit.
We just gonna watch some shit just because I agree.
If I'm on YouTube, I'm looking at
bro. I was like, come on. Hey, we are so shallow, bro. But I'm like, it's because we have been victims of a cohorted attack to dumb us down. That's what I'm saying. Like that's the truth. We have been attacked as a population of people to say, you guys are only gonna talk about these couple subjects.
Oh, 100%.
Amongst these within this you know,
are you saying
There's
as a people as blacks, or are you saying as a? Oh no. Well, I was gonna say as a people, like 'cause in our community or the whole Americans.
Everybody.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody. I'm saying again, let's trust experts. Let's go back to having a sense of trust. Right. The only way we're gonna have a sense of trust is if we actually listen to each other. We got to go back to listening. We got to go back to conversing. What we're doing. I appreciate y'all having me on this platform.
Oh, no, this is
letting
great.
me share my views.
Apologize, Larry.
I apologize for going so smart on y'all. You know, my mom used to tell me all the time when I was a kid. She's
Backhanded
like,
ass apology.
Yeah, no, she's like, don't get smart. I'm like, that's a smart mouth. And I'm like, ain't that a good thing? Ain't that a good thing? Like, I can make sense in any situation. Like, that's a great thing, right?
I know how to.
But she used to be, oh man, I used to get my ass torn up. But yeah,
Nah.
man. But ultimately, this is what it takes. Like, people got to care about what they're letting
And be
into
able to
their-
have conversations and go, oh, whoa, wait, you feel like it's not a problem. Like, you should be able to have civil discourse and agree, disagree. That it doesn't matter as long as you're getting to.
And
As
I
long as
hope
you're
over
closer
the
to
course
truth.
of this conversation, again, I just want to point out, I am not like this, like liberal, progressive
Oh
Democrat.
no! You know, are you ready?
I
could
literally
I could tell because if
just-
you would have been that guy, this would have been a very
Yeah,
different
that's
conversation.
not me. I just don't like liars.
Right.
I don't like thieves. I don't like people who
On
are
either
shitty
side.
people on either
Yes.
side.
Exactly.
And again, if we have if we have the chance to make an example of one of the highest, whitest, most male embodied people of power, if we have a chance to make an example out of somebody, like, yeah, okay, we know that there are others doing things, cool. But guess what? You know how long we've had to fight injustice? This isn't even injustice if he was to go to prison. That wouldn't even be injustice. That would be the greatest sense and form of justice I've ever seen. But he's talking to us and making us feel like, oh, well, we're cool because, like, no shade, you know, but because I got shot, I relate to y'all now. I was like, no, you's a bitch. You still a bitch. You don't relate to nobody. You got given everything. It was handed to you in life, and you're lying and you're cheating and you're stepping on people beneath you to get to where you've gotten. This needs to be called out. If this is called out and we take this and we do the right thing with this in this situation, you don't think the energy is going to then...
I will say this. The only
That's why all
caveat.
these powerful people are scared. That's why they like, bro, if he go down, I'm gonna be next, and if I'm gonna be next, so is you. So guess what,
It's a
y'all?
system.
When he's telling people, oh, they're not after me, they're after you, he's not talking to the people. He's talking to the...
Yeah. Well, my only caveat to the last part you just said, I would just say, I think one of the things, even though yes, you are right, he has guy has a terrible track record as far as like things that he could be locked up for and all these different things. But I will say, what was I just about to say? Yeah, I think we're at a place in our government where it's either you get the guy who's doing it in front of your face or you get the person who's doing it behind your back. And mind you, I mean, you know, it's a pick your poison situation. That's how I feel. Like, but I do think he was able to rally his base on the fact that, you know, I seem like I'm more like you, and I say I'm a bad. Same thing as Roger Stone. I'm a bad guy out in the open.
But you see, though, again, that Trump was created in this situation.
Oh,
the
no,
politician,
even the stuff Roger Stone said, like the lock her up and all that shit, I was like, so
you see what I'm saying?
He was
handed
the playbook.
The playbook to go run. He didn't rally his base. His base was defeated. When was the last Civil War? You see what I'm saying?
Fair.
The base is
1776.
the base has been there. Yeah.
Historian.
So
I know my Civil War.
His base has literally already been there. They've just been waiting for the new face of their revolution.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
They made him the face of their
that
revolution, but he did nothing
but
just pandered
to
what they are.
And I put it this way. He panders to those people. Kamala panders to us.
So
and that's our game.
We've talked about goddamn Donald Trump this whole damn time. I would like for us to
I got
touch.
triggered. That's why I got triggered.
No.
That was why I
Kamala.
got triggered.
And you
when
see,
I first-
exactly, and you
So
talked
I
about the
wanted
nigga the entire
I
time.
wanted to make sure that you understood that was where I was coming from.
No,
I
that's
went off on you.
Yeah.
I think I
No,
understand.
Trump elicits that. It's and my bigger picture with him is this. I always say if you're scared of one man taking down your entire system, that must not have been a very
fragile system.
Democracy is fragile.
Well, no, I'm not fucking finished. My question was,
Kamala.
how do you feel about Kamala Harris? Why is she great? Why do you think she's going to save us?
Imagine he goes, well, she's black. No, don't you dare! After you say you can't vote
I
because
was
you're
about
black.
to say it.
You, Larry.
But that's not again. Okay,
It's not a good reason.
No, Larry, stay on it.
I'm gonna evoke somebody who too probably I'll push for him to come on the show too. It's one of my old teammates. His name is Sofar. But me and my boy Soph, we go into it as it pertains to this topic right here. Like, she be like, we be in the crib and she be like, what are you doing? Because like I'm literally just like
He writing them paragraphs again.
And so like a lot of what again he's like balancing out. Like I'll be like, man, we in a democracy. He's like, actually, bro, we're in a constitutional republic. Look it up. It's in the Constitution.
I've been hearing that a
I
lot
mean,
lately.
I'm just like, but we believe in democratic values. I'm like, well, actually, it wasn't what the founding fathers believed when they, you know what I mean? Like, and so I'm just like, okay, I guess, yeah, like more people like us, ultimately, it's just our turn. It's just a generational conversation, right? Like there are enemies out there. There are forces that are outside of our control that need to be dealt with. Ultimately, the only way that you can do this is through education. The only way to be truly educated is to go into any situation and say, I do not know. That is it, right? And so if you ever, again, now just look at people telling you what they do know. That's how you know somebody don't know shit. That's how you know, right? First and foremost, right? You scream on top of your lungs, everything you say that you know.
Think how much shit you're not screaming.
So I'm saying, so it's like there are so many people, I feel like on the earth, especially in America, right? But it's just like the conversations that are being forced and the way that we're going about ultimately, talking about, the economy, the politics, this, that, and the third, and why somebody like Kamala is effective ultimately because optically she represents, a generation,
she's a woman.
A population, a
she's
percentage
a minority.
of people that exactly. But yeah, I think that if there's anything, like again, I'm gonna go back to Kobe. Even like MJ, like I think it was MJ who said, "I didn't lose. I never lost. I just ran out of time." Right? You got to be kind of crazy to be able to warp reality like
George
that.
Washington, or who was it? Thomas Edison. It was George Washington Thomas Edison. He was like, I didn't fail. I just found 99 ways it didn't work.
See what I'm saying? You got to kind of be crazy to warp reality to favor you in every situation, right?
Yes.
And but more so to say I'm a teacher, I'm an educator of myself. So what Kobe and Mamba mentality ultimately was about was like just get a little bit better every day. That's the focus.
That's it. Yeah.
Even if it's not a lot, just get a little bit better.
Because that shit adds up.
Okay.
Kamala,
Thank you, nigga. Damn. Like, what the fuck, bro? I've asked
makes
3
it
questions.
a little bit better. A little bit better. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And when people talk about
fair
this
statement.
idea of the lesser of two evils, which I never agreed with, I again to equate Trump to the other side and say, oh, like they're almost kind of the same, but this is the lesser.
Well, she just stands on nothing. That's how I feel.
Maybe she stands on nothing. Maybe that nothing is a canvas. It's a blank canvas for now the people to come in and fill that in, right? Ultimately,
You mean the people who work for the large
Them?
corporations?
They?
No, what
Them, they?
They're Roger. They're
the sense of doom and gloom. Ultimately, this idea that America sucks. Again, let one side of the aisle paint the picture for you. America sucks. America's a failing nation. Nobody respects us. We're losing all our mojo. We're
Right.
about to be in war. It's all bad. It's literally
Right. And then the other side is
Apocalyptic.
telling
It's
us
apocalyptic.
the economy's great, everything's fine, inflation's down 2% after it's been up
So-
35%,
So-
tell that to the
so
groceries.
so again. I say Kamala because she represents hope and change.
Yo, you forced that like shit. You said hope.
The hope that we
change.
can go forward. Again, progressive is like when I learned conservative and progressive and the terminology and the whole thing. Again, it's like, well, I guess that's a scale that makes sense to me because conservatives want to conserve old values.
Mm-hmm.
Progressives want to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that the world has more progressive people minded. Again, people who think more so in the spectrum of
that's fair.
I want to move forward. I want to explore.
See,
But
you
as we grow
that's-
as people, though, but even as we grow as people, like think of like as an individual, you sometimes don't want to lose some of those core values
Of course
as
not.
you move forward.
Of course
But then
not.
also, no, that's not true. People aren't mostly progressive. That's just people in cities and shit like that. And
That's
that's
people
just
in New York and
like,
LA.
It happens to be
So-
where we're
so
at,
think about
like
it.
Los
So
Angeles
think
and
about
New
what you're
York.
saying. So think about
But
what you're
inside of the middle of the population, they have conservative values. A lot of motherfuckers.
So you're telling
we're
me
just
that
like
the
very
more
focused in these areas.
the more that people spend around people that don't look exactly like them, the more that they're willing to take in their culture. That's what you're telling me.
So,
yeah, the
so
more
we need
people
more
are
exposure.
so that's what I'm
So
saying.
okay, so again, so people who live in the rural areas, not in the cities,
Which is
who
majority
are
of
not
people.
exposed to diversity.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But they also generally can't afford to go find some diversity because they
Nor
go to the areas.
maybe they don't want to, right? But
Yeah.
again, this idea, that can't be an ideal or a value for the future. You want to know why? Because at the end of the day, what's happening on Earth?
Well, we're all
procreating.
mixing. Yeah.
We're procreating.
Yeah.
We're mixing. The population is growing. There's no actual borders out there, right? Like how many
Right.
physical
I see
borders
what
are
you're
there?
saying. Yeah, yeah.
The land that's empty now in the future,
Language
gonna be
ain't
empty
even
no
a
more.
border no more.
That's what I'm saying. So people are going to continue to procreate. We're going to continue to go wherever we want to go across borders, move and continue to procreate with other people. This
Except
is just
North Korea.
This is just again, yeah. But do
One
you
day.
see what I'm saying?
One day, though, yeah.
There are conservatives
Right.
who do not want this idea of procreation and diversity. That's
For sure.
if you put any population, like again, in a rainforest, in all the biodiversity, and what species literally do not mingle or mix or just go, I'm not
Right.
here for none of this other shit.
Imagine the
I'm
crocodiles like, nah,
only-
y'all niggas stay up
I'm
there.
There's only one
dealing
liger.
with people who look like us. No animal species behaves
Right.
this way.
That's true.
Because naturally we live in the same
They do get
space.
tribal though. They do get tribal. But
So
then
if
that
you
turns out-
allow human nature to persist organically, it's going to spread. It's going to seek new information and new cultural new ideas.
Right.
Because we need new ideas to survive. We can't survive for forever with old ideals. We need to understand what other people are seeing and thinking and feeling and talk to them and mix it with what we know, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to survive. So again, I disagree. I believe that
More people?
more people have been exposed to diversity at this stage and this point in 2024. And if not in person, at least via the internet.
There's a quote I heard that kind of is what you're saying, but it says, if we want things to stay as they are, things will have to change.
Bro, we are literally moving. Are you still right now? Be as still as you can.
Oh yeah, but you're
You're
energy.
in constant motion.
Yeah.
Why are you in constant motion?
Because your molecules are never
Energy.
Why
Yeah.
else? Because literally the ground that you're on
Oh,
is moving.
Yeah.
Uh,
You don't feel it, but we're
yeah.
traveling at tens of thousands of miles an hour. Things always progress.
How you feel about Palestine and Israel?
You know what? And I think that's our time, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I want to be able to monetize this episode. You niggas are gonna
What
hit you
I'll
with
say
that.
about it, man. What I'll say about it is, there's so much I don't know. There's so
And
much
that's
I
fair.
don't know.
Yeah, and same.
honestly, like because
Yeah.
my woman, Middle Eastern descent. I try to have conversation with her and ask her like, yo, why?
Get on this mic,
why
girl.
is there so much tension? Like, there's
Get on
things
this
that I
mic,
don't
girl.
understand.
Say,
But look,
tell
but
us.
look,
Say how you feel.
she's first generation American, so her parents,
They really came for
really,
Yeah.
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 So it's like I do like when I go to her, we just dropped off our little one at Grandma and Grandpa. Shout out to Grandma and Grandpa, his parents. But yeah, like I'll talk to Pops when I can. We like one of the shows that we do talk about on Netflix. There's a docuseries. It's called Turning Point.
Okay.
The Bomb in the Cold War.
Turning Point, the bomb.
I've watched I've watched the first 8 episodes, but a lot of that again has to do with obviously the bomb, the Cold War, but a lot of like how the tensions in the Middle East kind of started to flare up. So anyway, ultimately I'll say that from the research that I've done on it, it's racial.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
racial
It's very racial.
It's
Well,
racial.
Well, because at the end of the day, I mean, like,
There's
number
racists.
yeah, everywhere.
Racists, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, like even looking and same thing, like not knowing everything I know I need to know about that situation. It's just it's as simple as like, hey, it's hit a point where like kids shouldn't be getting killed like this.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Like,
I mean,
this-
look,
this
that's
is
the
insane.
obvious.
That's
but-
like, and
but
what
look,
makes you not stop at a certain point and go,
you wanna
okay,
know why? This is it. God.
right,
And that's another conversation.
One of the biggest-
That's probably
beautiful
that's
but yet
probably
divisive.
the
The
most uncomfortable conversation
facts
for
yeah.
people.
100%.
is the God conversation.
Because you can't test the reality I live in.
Basically,
and that's the issue.
if you believe in a God that gives you the okay to go kill people,
Then that's what it is.
you're gonna be able to do that.
Right.
And again, how many
Extremists,
people,
but
civilizations
still.
worship violent deities?
Right.
Like I wish people could go around and talk about pyramids more. Just objective, right? Like again, maybe we don't agree who the prophet is,
Yeah.
Jesus.
But
or
here's another
Muhammad,
perspective that you're
but
willing to
let's find common ground
Yeah.
somewhere that we can actually all see and touch, and it's not just relative to old stories.
And
right?
there's threads between all of them that are very similar. So
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
sure there's a lot of middle ground that could be found if people
as
wanted
long
All the
as
books are saying. the
long
same
as
thing.
the oil, we got oil and we got banks and we got these oil companies. We're gonna have militaries that are going to be purchasers of
Right.
oil, and they're gonna need wars to fight in, and we're
100%.
gonna need
BlackRock, Raytheon, they gotta
Yeah,
make
that's
their
what I'm saying,
money
like-
too.
as long as this is the paradigm, and that's ultimately why I appreciate Greer, who I want to turn as many people onto Dr. Stephen Greer as I can.
I'm gonna add
Because-
all the links at the bottom of the
because
episode too. Yeah.
that please go watch Unacknowledged. Just probably didn't check it out yet.
No, I haven't, but that was
Listen.
on my. I like the first one,
Listen,
so I was like, yeah.
listen, go watch Unacknowledged, and then I'll come back on the
It's
show.
on Prime, right?
I'll come back on the show. We
Hell
talk about
yeah.
that. But that it answers everything. He pretty much gives you the answer to everything as far as why this is all happening, and it is an energy problem. According to Greer, it comes down to energy. The means that we are burning fossil fuels and oil and coal and gas on Earth
Create
energy.
Yeah.
Because we have other means to create energy, and
That
these
we're not
systems are
exploring.
being suppressed.
Of course, yeah.
That's it.
Well, I think that's it, man. Damn, this was great, bro. This is fucking great.
I take all this with me every day, everywhere I go. So
Listen,
at
you will
any
be
given
back.
point in time that you might see me, or just know that think about me. This is what's probably
Going on in your head.
But I can make smaller talk.
We're
I can
wrapping-
No,
I
this
can
is
dumb
the
it.
talk.
I
This is
can dumb
perfect.
it down.
No,
Like,
no,
we
no,
can-
no.
Let's
This is-
talk about the
this is-
Olympics.
Save
Y'all wanna
that
talk
for
about the
other
Olympics?
nigga shows.
Let's talk about sports. Y'all want to talk about sports? Or is
I-
it
and you know what's
over?
funny? I'm not
I've been
that guy.
talking this
What's
whole
your
time.
favorite movie?
Yeah, I would like to know this.
What's your favorite movie and what's your favorite television show?
My favorite movie is Interstellar.
Interstellar.
Oh, wow.
That tracks. And then your favorite television show?
Through
is the last
wormhole
thing
with Morgan Freeman.
What?
Through the wormhole with Morgan Freeman. This nigga likes the cosmos. I know what kind of nigga you are. Favorite comedian?
Ooh,
Dave Chappelle can't count because he's Dave Chappelle.
He can.
He can, but
He
you
can.
know, we
I
all.
don't really have like a
like
favorite
Dave.
comedian, but like like the goats. You know what I'm saying? Eddie's and Dave's, and you know what I'm saying. Like content is so oversaturated now. That's what I'm saying. Like even comedy in today's age, right? Like with the whole freedom of speech and cancel culture and that whole thing took a hit. But I tell her all the time, I'm the funniest person I know. Honestly, I think I'm hilarious.
Wait a minute.
I'm the funny. I'm
You
really,
don't like our content, no?
I'm really the funniest person I know. I joke every day. I joke myself. I clown myself. That's the only reason why I can come in and ultimately just expose myself. You know what I'm saying? It's because
this was a great
No,
conversation,
this
man.
is great, bro.
Yeah.
This is great. I mean,
I
it
had
worked
no
out
clue
too.
where the fuck this was gonna go.
Because
no, that was great.
I had no clue
Because
what
when you
was gonna
said when you
happen
said
today.
that comment, I swear I thought you were gonna come in blue no matter who. You were about to be like, listen, it doesn't matter about facts. It matters about. And then,
No,
and I was like,
I'm straight fact based.
yeah.
I'm
No,
all
I see.
fact-based.
I'm like, oh, that can't be.
I'm
bad
all
at
fact
that.
based. I'm all corroboration. I'm all like for these types of general discussions amongst people who actually care about
Yep.
how they're going to discern between info, apply, new information. That's it. Like if I could teach or pass anything along, especially in today's age, as we go
Hell
into
yeah.
this new, next phase of generative AI, and I'm telling you, in 10 years, it's gonna look like night and day. And
Facts.
Shit,
5.
We're not like you see already like the deep fakes and how it's all being manipulated. So again, if we don't have these tools and these built-in like verification
We will be
systems
bamboozled
we're
so
not gonna
quickly.
be ready for what's coming down the line. We ain't seen shit yet. They just testing it out, and that's why I'm saying it's working, and that's why I'm concerned because I'm like y'all fall for anything. Can't fall for anything. Question more things than you just take in, but again, the point in which you get the answer, you got to be able to discern to say, "Oh my goodness, that's the result."
And it's just like the point. It's like that goes like, what was it? If you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything.
Fall for anything,
But it's funny because now we have less people standing. So we're just literally. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to say that. So
I'm out here with y'all, man. I'm saying everything I need to say and want to say.
Facts.
That's what I'm saying right now.
Well, hope y'all learn. Hope y'all all learn something from this conversation.
You niggas. Jesus.
Is mine right now?
Jesus. No.
He's just like he's shocked how much we think
If he
alike. That he's
knew-
like,
No,
If
I
he
don't
knew what
think
he
you
knew before I came here about how this conversation was gonna go. How would you have maybe gone about it differently?
What about this conversation, like this
Yeah.
situation? How would I have
'Cause
gone
I do
about
feel
it
like
differently?
and yeah, Steph will tell you I talk a lot. I
no,
talk
that's
a lot.
fine though because like I'll put it this way, we're both very quick to shoot holes in things, like very much so. But like, yeah, you came on, you have.
It's hard to shoot holes in my shit.
Well, yeah, and it's I put it this way. At the end of the day, it's sensible. So like, whether I agree with something or disagree with something, it's like, oh, well, you've taken these factors into account.
Consideration.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like I can't. Yeah. Whereas a lot of people, they're like I said, they're just no. This is how I feel, and this is what you must understand. And it's like that does not matter to the outside world.
Well, again, we are coexisting. We are here to share space and time with each other, and energy is transfer, man. Like we gotta do this. I'll tell her all the day, or tell her all the time, every day. It's just like I even any relationship, the fundamental building block of any relationship is communication. So I'm like, as long as we can communicate,
the rest will
we
take
need
care of
to
itself.
talk. Yeah, we just need to feel comfortable and trust each other in the communication, and it's spiritual. It's a spiritual component to that. You got to
100%.
cherish it and really, and once that's established, okay, now you can kind of take it from there. But we got to go back to respecting this art of communication.
Yeah, I really just didn't know what time we were gonna be on. So like when you came, I was like, this nigga gonna be rude? Is he gonna be mean? Like, I don't know what's gonna happen when
I
he gets
expected
here.
a bow tie.
And so when I saw, first
Listen,
off,
brothers.
when I saw the message, I was like, okay, he uses words. He loves words. He loves words.
I'm big on words.
And then I saw the reading list. I didn't get that till fucking 2 hours before the fucking
Yeah,
show.
I tweaked. I
So
forgot
like
to-
I was
but I
like,
was
I
on
can't even watch any of the topics
Y'all wanna,
because I'm like, I'm coming in and it's like, but I'm like, wait, why? What the fuck is this? I was like, what time?
I will say this too. Like, having played sports for the majority of my life, right? And I retired in 2018. And since I retired, I've been in a transitional phase trying to, figure out what it is that I really want to do out here. I could go be a coach. I could go do player development.
But what you want to do? Yeah.
I want to do something I want to do, right? And it's tough, right? As an entrepreneur and, in the economy and that whole thing, right? But really just being able to take a leap of faith and trust in what it is that you do. So I have two sayings that I kind of live by. KYG, know your game, and KYP, know your personnel. So once you know who you are and what you do to a T, then you learn what the people around you, who they are, what they do to a T. Now you learn strengths, you learn weaknesses, put people in position to play to their strengths, doing what you do well, and then mitigate the weaknesses while you own those skills on the side, right? Now that's just a formula I feel like for any kind of team success. But it just, damn, I lost my train of thought. What how do we start this? What was
You're saying know your game, know your personnel.
Oh yeah. So I was just in the last 8 years since I've been paying attention to politics and all this, man. I really felt like, because I'm good with words and because I feel like I'm a leader and because I feel like there's a lack of leadership out here and maybe there needs to be more leadership. Right. I joke around, but I don't with her sometimes, but I don't know how much of a joke it actually is. Like I could see myself in politics in my future, right? To say that like all I have to do is communicate to my constituents, to my, to my base or like to the people I'm working with ultimately and bring people together to have conversations. And that's something that I think I do well. So, I guess I'm just highlighting, again.
What are you going to run? You would be Democrat, Republican, or a Libertarian?
Man, look, I don't even know. I haven't really put that much thought into it. I would, again, like I really just feel like, and this is what Kamala, I think, is showing, is that people are looking for new leadership, ultimately. That's just what it is. There needs to be a new, when you think of
new face,
a new culture of leadership in America. But again, when my great grandfather, my great grandmother, when they were 34, what were they doing? You saw what I'm saying? Like, we gotta understand, like, we only here, like you said, for a little bit, and ultimately, what are people gonna remember about you when you're not here? Like, how did you make people feel? Like, what's your legacy gonna be? Like, we named our daughter Legacy. Like, I'm big on
fly name.
I'm big on that feeling of how are you gonna be remembered, and you have to.
What are you passing down?
What are you pass? But like that's something you gotta think about every day. That gotta be something you spend every waking moment, like I do. That's
that fourth dimension.
That thinking about what is my legacy going to be on this earth when I'm not here anymore are the messages and the narratives that are going to be passed down intergenerationally. That's where I walk in my state of being on a day to day. That's why I care about info.
See, I thought you were gonna come here and tell us why we were wrong, or why the points were what we said was wrong, or what we did was wrong, and that never happened. And so, and then
he's so disarmed.
He's like, this guy's kind of cool.
No, this was pissing me off. So basically, then I'm like, okay. While he's talking, I came thinking I had to be defensive, but now, and I know he came here like, I'm gonna lead this conversation.
It's like the stepbrother's hug.
So he was like, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna control this conversation, which you did.
Which
you came
I
in
thought
and,
about. No. Before I came in here, I was like, am I going, or was I just gonna sit here and kind of
and see where it goes?
But you actually set it off when you said you wanted to keep it organic.
And that's
I'm gonna
great.
just speak out of feel.
Yeah,
No,
that's
this is
good.
just what I've
This
what
is what
I
we
pulled
wanted.
while we
Yeah.
here. So I'm like, okay, this man came and I was like, he was gonna control this conversation, and look, he's running the conversation. So I'm like, that's good. But I was like, but the entire time you were speaking, you were actually giving us a lot of me, at least, a lot of perspective on who you are, I don't necessarily know your ideologies or what your real beliefs are, but I kind of was able to get a sense of who you are as a person and like what kind of shit you're into. You know what I'm saying?
But like this, I people who have played with me
yeah.
basketball know
Know who you are.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of.
That's-
Yeah.
but see, that's kind of like my struggle as a former athlete, having, in the middle of this transition. So I'm like, how do I recreate that feeling or that systemic like trust in the people I'm surrounded with or I'm working with, and be able to play my game, right? To have that green light in that type of an environment to ultimately truly be myself, because I do believe, and I credit to my pops, my pops, my mom, and my pops, like they taught me right? And but leadership like is lacking, and we need to ultimately be the change that we want to see out there. We can't, again, you asked about reparations. We got to create it. We can't wait for that shit to be handed out.
I wanted to say, but I just kept letting you get your shit off. But the thing about it is, with reparations, I really did have a problem with you niggas being like, oh, we just need to get up and pull up by. No, I'm not done. You guys, you motherfuckers, like, we need to pull up by our bootstraps and we need to do it. What did Kobe do? What would Kobe do? And I'm like, wait a minute, motherfuckers. Because I'm like,
WWKD, nigga.
no, because I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I do agree that you got to get up, get out, and do something, nigga.
Get
you gotta
over
do
it.
You feel me? You got to do.
Let me
But
say
the
one
get
thing.
over it shit, I do not like.
all,
Because
get
we
up,
are
get
owed
up,
40
get up.
acres and a mule.
You know what
They're
pissed me
supposed
off?
to do shit to us.
You know-
and they blatantly spit in our face. And y'all, I'm not worried about reparations, but I don't think that's something niggas should just
I don't think
let go.
look, put like this. Eric, watch this. I don't think we deserve it.
Whoa.
You don't think we...
Look,
That's not true.
He said, I just want to see the reaction out of
That's
this.
not how you
I'm
truly
not-
feel.
that's
And,
not
like,
how I
that's
truly-
not how
I
you
that's not how I
truly
truly feel. But I will say that anytime, again, like take this election for example, right? It's just in my mind, it should be so clear as to who black people should be voting for, right? But anytime we are given a chance,
You two are so much alike, and you don't even understand.
anytime we're given a chance to do the right thing on behalf of our community, we don't
Do it.
necessarily do it.
He's like, I want to finish this sentence.
I know what you mean.
And I'll bring up the cap situation.
This is fucking nuts.
Yeah, you're so right. That is
what?
right.
The what?
Hold on.
That is right.
Wait, what? I missed it.
Kaepernick.
I said, oh, this is going to be it. This is it. This is when we...
This will end
Boycott
racism in the
the
NFL.
NFL.
Oh, niggas said, no. I got to watch my games. I was like, oh, y'all don't have a problem with this? This one?
Bro was out here for us. He sacrificed for us to have leverage in this conversation.
And then you know what niggas said?
And
I mean,
y'all
he wasn't
niggas-
playing that well.
I be saying niggas.
That's crazy.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
That's crazy.
y'all went right back to watching
crazy.
football.
It was.
See, that's the thing.
that
I don't
was
even watch
crazy. I
football,
remember-
so I ain't
What
a
I'm
part of
saying,
y'all.
when I say y'all don't deserve it,
I'm
they don't deserve
1.5%.
I like
We have
basketball.
to do better in the moments. When these moments arise for us to
Listen,
make
do we
a
not remember the
generational
bubble?
stand.
Do you not remember the bubble when niggas said, I'm not playing? And then something happened and them niggas was right out there playing.
But
Niggas was
Cap
there.
was I feel like the Cap situation was worse just because we had the president. You had the
vice
leader
president
of the free
coming to the
world.
fucking games.
No, I'm talking about Trump. You literally had Trump talking about get that son of a bitch off the field.
Yeah.
You had
Kneeling's
the president.
disrespectful.
You had the president attacking this guy.
Yeah.
The starting quarterback, black quarterback, big fro, for police brutality and injustice. He was attacking him in that moment.
I just want to say I always do the right thing as a black person.
Bruh.
So like when these things happen, I can
stop
just
watching.
laugh because
You do the right
I
thing?
was
You stop watching
actually.
football? You ain't watch no football.
He don't watch
after that?
football.
I don't watch football.
Very good.
I was doing the right thing.
That's what I'm
I-
Hillary, no football.
I voted for Hillary. No football.
see what I'm saying?
I always go. I do the right thing.
How do we
I don't
get everybody
apply
else
to
do
these
the right
fucking
thing? How do
things.
we get it? How do we lock step arm and go as a unit? Because
Roll
again,
with me. Listen to
because
me.
again, we have. It's there. The opportunity is there. That's what I'm saying.
No, 100%.
We get brought opportunity to create our own,
And we don't
and
do
we
it.
Don't do
Yeah,
it.
we don't do it. But I think it's a slight short-sightedness in us, and it's also, I think it's a nurturing, man. Like, I won't lie to you, we're sitting here as 3 guys who had, you know, good parents who did great things in their lives so they could support us and give us some kind of, like, come on, what person can sit there and be like, my father's
Nah, I
main
was
thing was
privileged. Nah,
leader,
for sure.
but no, I'm just
For
saying
sure.
leadership, like not even just the who's instilling that kind of stuff. Same with my dad. Like, it was like instilling like hard work, dedication. Hey, you start something, you finish it. Like, these are all things that most people it's a certain level of accountability that a lot of people who unfortunately look like us. Oh damn, I knew that was gonna happen.
It clicked.
Yep, it clicked. Hold on.
Just finish your statement and then we'll.
A lot of people who look like us, unfortunately, don't have the privilege of
Yeah.
getting at
No,
home.
I mean, it starts at home. It does, and that's been a major issue for our community. You know, for some time, for some generations,
Look at
is
us.
our homes.
3
It's our
black,
home.
Look at us.
privileged guys
Speaking
Discussing-
eloquently.
discussing politics,
highly
and
eloquently.
respecting each other's opinions.
You want to know too? That original comment wasn't as nice at first. I went back and I edited that specifically because I was like, wait a minute. I do want to have a conversation with these guys. I don't want them thinking I'm like.
You didn't
know
want it
what
to
I
be
mean?
like, man, fuck
So
this.
I was like, let me just go.
I took a
completely-
screenshot of
let
the
me-
original.
Let me
then,
go
if you-
complete asshole and just be completely sarcastic, so they
Right.
know that, like, you know,
There's jokes here.
there's jokes here,
But I'm
I'ma
serious.
leave it open. I'm gonna leave it open for y'all to tell exactly. You know what I mean? Like, wait to see.
I was just like, I know we shared a slice of pizza before or something, and this nigga is to me.
Shout out Flight.
Shout out, Flight. Love you, boy.
All right,
Flight.
before all these cameras fill up, but listen, we definitely gonna have you back because I'm gonna go through all the what's
my
his name?
list, my study guide.
What's
My
the
study
guy?
guide? Stephen Greer,
Seth
Dr. Stephen
Abramson.
Greer.
Stephen
Dr.
Greer and Seth
Stephen
Abramson.
Greer, yeah.
But yeah, man, appreciate you coming through.
Appreciate
Good
you
times.
having me. Yeah,
Hell yeah,
fun
bro.
time, fella.
And we out. Peace.
Peace out.